Hello everyone, we are starting here the second topic of design of steel and RCC structures, that is DSR. The first topic from this subject we have completed, and the second chapter we are going to start here, that is design of steel connections. Okay, design of steel connections, which is having weightage of marks 14, and this topic is very important from the content of design of steel. Okay, we know that our subject includes two parts, that is design of steel, and another part is design of RCC. In design of steel, we have only two chapters in our syllabus. That is, first chapter we were already cover, that was fundamentals of steel structures, and the second chapter is this one, that is design of steel connections. So out of 70 marks, design of steel is having 20 marks out of 70 marks. That means if we calculate the percentage, there is almost 30% part is steel part, and remaining 70% part is RCC part from this particular subject. So the first introductory topic we have covered, which includes only theory part. Now in this topic we will study some theory part as well as some design part. Okay, so the course outcome of this topic is design the connections for the given steel joints. Okay, this is a CO of this topic, design the steel connections for the given steel joints. This topic mainly includes two major parts, that is bolted connections, welded connections, in which these are the unit outcomes you have to remember. That means after studying this topic, you should able to compute the strength of the given bolted connections. Also, you should be able to do design the bolted connections for the given situations. These are the two unit outcomes from the bolted connections, and some of the unit outcomes from the welded connections. Okay, so the detailed syllabus of this topic is, we will study different types and uses of bolts and types of joints also. Then we will study modes of failure of bolts, how they get failure due to excess loading. Then different specifications of bolt holes for bolted connections, that part we will cover. Then also strength of bolt in shear, in tension, strength of bolt in bearing, and the efficiency of joint. These are the some point we will cover, and the numericals or design problems based on that same point we'll study here. Then analyze and design of bolted joints for axially loaded plate, single and double angle members. That part we'll study also. Then in welded connections, these are the unit outcomes. That means you should be able to compute the design strength of given welded connections by after studying this topic. Then design the welded connections for given situations. Then state the specifications for cross-sectional area, pitch, spacing, gauge, end distance, edge distance, diameter of bolt holes for bolted connections with justifications. These are the some theory points, and they are also very much important in case of design also. Explain the advantages and disadvantages of welded connections. That these theory points we will study here also. Different types of welded connections and their details. Okay, so the this is about the about this chapter, and the actual content of the topic we will see. But before that, in structural members, any structural members are connected to one another through bolts or rivets or weld. You might know about these things, that in steel connections you have seen many practical examples. The two steel members may be connected by bolts, rivets, or weld. But nowadays, use of rivet is generally avoided because of some disadvantages of rivet welds. Because riveting requires more labor, supervision, or it is noise polluting. That means it creates some noise while it's fabrication, and that's why most of the time bolted connections are preferred than the riveted connections. Okay, and that's why we will study only two types in detail, that is bolted connections and welded connections. Okay, firstly we will study bolted connections in details. That is what is meant by bolted connections, the types of bolted connections, then what are the modes of failure of bolted connections. That means when we apply excess load on that bolted bolts, then what are the modes of failure, that is how it get fails due to excess loading, uh, that we will study. Then strength of bolt in shear, tension, bearing, efficiency of joint, that point we will study in bolted connections. And then remaining half part, that is welded connections. Okay, along with these theory points, we will see some design examples, and that is our main motto, uh, according as exam point of view. Design problems or design numericals are very important. So this is a syllabus that we just discussed about the second topic. Okay, the actual syllabus, that is bolted connections, will start in the next lecture. So remembered the syllabus content and just brief introduction about the this topic. Okay, so thank you.